Hello.
Hey there, Michael. It's Marc here from Planetmosh.
Hey, Mark. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good, good. It's been a couple of years since we last talked,
Yes, I know.
and you've been keeping busy, I see.
Very busy.
Between the solo album George Lynch and, of course, what we're here to talk about, the new album Fallen.
Yeah, man. It's been quite a blur, I tell you.
I'm sure you're pretty tired from it all.
Yeah, in all my exhaustion, I just kind of dove into a solo album that I'm writing now. I start recording in 2 weeks, and that's going to be coming out on Rat Pack Records.
Excellent.
So a lot going on.
Excellent, excellent. Well, as I say, we're here to talk about Fallen. The one thing I notice about Fallen is that Stryper have taken on a newer style in heavy metal. I find compared to your classic sound, what brought on the heavier influence?
The What happened with me personally is I revisited our old catalog,
Mm-hmm.
and I revisited a lot of the old bands that we grew up on.
Mm-hmm. Still there?
Come from really fast, and I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. Hiya. Just lost you there for a second.
Hey, I don't. I Skype fan because of this. Seems like Skype interviews always go this way. Anyway, I was saying that visited the old catalog and a lot of the old bands to try to get back to our classic sound and listen to the fans as well.
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, there's a real classic Black Sabbath sound, but the Black Sabbath one we're going to come back to in a minute. I take it that was the sort of idea you were
Sorry?
You brought in classic Black Sabbath sound, which we're going to come to in a minute. Is that what you were looking to go for?
Yeah, as I started writing the album, I started realizing that it had a little bit, at least to my ears, a little bit of a Sabbath sound to it. And then I started researching Sabbath songs because we all grew up on Sabbath.
Yeah.
And after hearing After Forever and then reading the lyrics, I came to the realization that it was just a perfect fit for Fallen for the album.
Especially to keep on the tradition of a cover song per album.
Yeah, I mean, and when you look back at our catalog, we haven't. I don't think we've done cover songs on every album. Like I know we didn't do one on "To Hell with the Devil."
Yeah, I was sort of
we
against
didn't
the
do
law
one
onwards.
on "In God We Trust."
Sort of more against the law onwards, I think it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you could technically get down to it, on Soldiers Under Command, we did "Battle Hymn of the Republic."
That is true, yes. But as I say, is that the main reason why you took on After Forever? Because you had already covered a Black Sabbath theme song from the Ronnie James Dio years, and now you're in the Ozzy Osbourne years. It must have been interesting to read those lyrics Geezer Butler wrote.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really the main reason why we chose the song, was more so based on the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
We love the song itself, but the lyrics are just amazing. And I reached out to the guys in the band and asked their opinions, and they loved the idea. And that was it. I mean, it was just a real quick decision, and in a matter of seconds, and that was a done deal. And when we were in the studio, there we were tracking it. So it's one of the better tracks on the album. It turned out really nice.
It is a very underrated Black Sabbath song. I find it's a personal favorite of mine. So it is. How did it feel for your voice to go from doing a Ronnie James Dio before to an Ozzy Osbourne song?
Well, it was. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Still here.
It was definitely a little on the difficult side because, with any cover of any singer that has such a signature voice, it's very hard to escape their version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And to try to put your own spin on it and just sing it like you sing it. You tend to go into it right off the bat starting to try to sing it like the original singer, and that doesn't always work because they're one of a kind. Ozzy has such a unique voice, so once I just sing it like Michael Sweet, it fell right into place, and it really wasn't a big deal. And same thing with the Heaven and Hell song, with Ronnie James Dio's voice. I just kind of sing it like me and how I thought fit the song, and it worked out.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. There's also not only musically the album is heavier, but there's a much more deeper theological sense on the album, such as Fallen being about the fall of Lucifer, Yahweh being about the last days of Jesus Christ. Was the lyrical theme to match with the musical style as well? Because I don't think there has been that strong of a theological sense since the previous albums. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think there has been. And it was just one of those things, as I wrote each song, I wanted the lyric to fit the music. And, obviously with a song like Yahweh, it was so epic and so powerful. It just made sense to me for the lyric to be about the crucifixion of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fitting. It's Fallen, same kind of thing. It had kind of this certain sound to it. And then I had this idea in my head to write the lyric based on the story of Lucifer, right out of the Bible. So there's a lot of stuff that's taken right out of the Bible, like "Let There Be Light," right out of Genesis. And it's a little bit, as you go through the album, to a degree, it's a little bit of a Bible study.
Yeah.
By sorts.
Because it is interesting how you go from starting off with the fall of Christ to then go into the fall of Lucifer so instantly, and then progressing on through the album with the songs like, as you say, "Let There Be Light," "The Calling." And there's another thing you've also done throughout the album is there's a lot of drop tune songs like "Pride" and "Big Screen Lies." Again, such hard-hitting lyrics. It's been a while since you've done drop tune songs. How did it feel going back into that sort of sound?
Well, it was kind of nice. I mean, and again, fitting for the tracks themselves. And when we drop down, I mean, we only drop our low E down to a full step. So it's not like we're playing a 7 or 8 string guitar with a low B and doing that whole thing.
Yes.
Because that wouldn't be us. That's not us. But yeah, I mean, it depends on the song. Like, I'm working on a solo album right now, and as I'm writing the songs, some songs just make sense to be in open D.
Mm-hmm.
And they just call for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the case with obviously songs like "Big Screen Lies" and "Pride." They just had and "King of Kings." They were all kind of screaming out for that low E to be dropped down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pride is a favorite track of mine from the album. I love the music video these guys released. It must have been good fun getting back together for a video.
Oh, it was awesome, man! It always is.
Mm-hmm.
Budgets aren't what they used to be, so we don't have the luxury of kind of recreating all these ideas that are in our head because there's limited budget. Mm-hmm. But we love making videos. It really. It gives a different side of the song. Like, for example, the video we just released for "All Over Again." Some people said they weren't 100% feeling the song. They thought it was okay, but then now that they've seen the video, it's one of their favorite songs.
Okay. So
that's how important videos are. If you do a good one, it definitely makes a big difference in the song itself.
Interesting. So moving on from Fallen, I wanted to ask a couple of questions about the previous project you carried out with George Lynch. That was an interesting project you did there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was approached to do that by Frontiers, and I got to wind up. I wound up actually producing it and co-writing the whole album and really having a big hand in it and in the way it turned out. Obviously, singing it. And what a pleasure it was working with not only George, who is incredible, as we all know, but working with Brian, Tishy, and James Lomenzo. I don't think you could ask for a better rhythm section.
The rhythm section was fantastic, I have to say.
Yeah, just amazing. I mean, just unbelievable, and such great players. And, it makes a big difference. That's the foundation of the album. Just like building a house, as cliche as it is to say, if you're building a house on sand, it's not going to be so stable. But if you build it on good quality cement and have a strong foundation, then it's going to be easy to keep building it. And that was the case with James and Brian. They gave us this incredible rhythm section, and it was just so easy for us to do all the rest.
Mm-hmm. And from that project, did you gain anything from it that was able to be brought into Fallen at all, or even into your new solo album that's coming out?
Oh yeah, more so the solo album, not so much Sweet and Lynch. I mean, George came up with most of the guitar riffs and sent those to me, and then I worked off of those. And George has such a unique style. It really gave that album its own signature stamp. My solo album that I'm working on right now, there certainly are songs as I'm working on it that I could hear on Fallen. That I'm saying to myself, oh wow, this would have worked on Fallen. But yet at the same time, there's a lot of stuff on here that's really different.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are going to go, oh wow, that's different. And what I always try to do that makes it a little tricky is I try to be creative and experiment, but at the same time not alienate myself, be it Stryper or solo, from the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to release something that I love, but the fans hate.
Yes.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So I gotta create something that I love and the fans will love as well. Because I don't want to make an album that sounds like 1986 all over again. I don't prefer to do that. Some people do, and whatever, that's fine. But that's why I like Fallen. We magically were able to go in and kind of merge the old with the new, and it works.
Interesting. And talking about your solo career, one thing that springs to mind when Stryper released Second Coming, have you had any thoughts about bringing back any of your older songs like All This in Heaven 2 or JESUS for an album, or even to feature within an album a couple of songs?
Well, that's always a touchy subject. It's very odd because I write almost all of the Stryper songs. Like on No More Hell to Pay, I wrote them all. On Fallen, I wrote 90% of them. Only 2 of them were a co-write. So I write almost everything. But then when I mention the possibility of bringing in an old solo song or something, people get up in arms.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking to myself, well, what's the difference?
Especially when Second Coming took off so well.
Well, there's really no difference. And it's another funny thing is a lot of people say, you don't know how many times I hear people say, oh, that sounds just like another Michael Sweet solo song. Sometimes with Stryper songs.
Really?
Like, with the songs on Second Coming, Blackened. And, people are like, I love the song, but it sounds like a Michael Sweet solo song. And I'm thinking, so does that mean that all the old Stryper songs sound like Michael Sweet solo songs? Because they were written by me. So I don't really get people's logic and how, there's a handful of people, not all, but some people, how they think. They seem to get up in arms if we're not all writing the songs together, and they feel it's not a joint effort. And the funny thing is it's never been that way.
Mm-hmm.
Ever on any album.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure what people are thinking,
Yeah, whatever is Stryper, whatever is Michael Sweet is Michael Sweet.
Yeah, but I mean, Stryper songs, if you go back, Soldiers in Command, for example, I mean, I wrote all those songs, except for, I'm trying to think of the ones that I didn't write. Oh my gosh.
We're going back a good few years here.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to give an example. It's like Soldiers in Command. Other than Battle Hymn of the Republic, I didn't write, of course, but there's a few on there that Robert co-wrote the lyrics to. Soldiers Under Command being one of those. And there might be a few more that he co-wrote the lyrics to, but all the music I wrote. You know, I wrote that whole album. So here's my point. Because I wrote it, then theoretically or technically speaking, is that a solo album?
Mm-hmm.
You see you see what I'm saying? I'm kind of opening up a can of worms here, and I don't know if I need to, but it's one of those things that always
it's interesting.
it always kind of bothers me, because when I hear people make comments about a Stryper song sounding like a Michael Sweet solo song, it's like that's just where I'm at as a writer now. You know,
Yeah.
it's I'm not going to write songs exactly like Rock That Makes Me Roll or Soldiers Under Command, because I'm in a different place. I mean, I'll come close with some stuff I'm following, but you know, people have this. They have this this idea that isn't true, that the whole band sat in a room before and wrote and contributed on every song. And it was always a band effort, and it never was. I mean, everyone contributes their parts and their ideas and stuff for the song itself, but not the songwriting itself. So anyway, enough of that. I'm going down a different path. So
interesting.
it is interesting. What's interesting to me is who these people are that make the comments on Facebook or whatever. Like, oh, it's some guy made a comment recently. It was funny. I got a kick out of it. He said that the new video, all over again, it was nice to see the whole band and not me hogging the camera. And I just thought, well, now that's funny. That's really funny. But these people think strange things. But
that is fine. And are you planning on bringing in any special guests again, like you did on your previous album at all?
Special guests? You know what? I don't know. I may. I'm thinking about it. Well, I have on drums. I have Will Hunt, who plays for Evanescence and Black Label Society and a number of other bands. He's a phenomenal drummer, and he's going to be drumming on my solo album.
Okay.
So the drums are going to kill.
Yeah, because Stryper bring in quite a lot of special guests into their performance. I see, like the singer from Queensryche drumming for you one time. That must have been good fun.
It was a lot of fun. It really was. But on this solo album, I'm going to bring in Will, and I might have a few guest vocalists. I just don't know who. Maybe Todd LaTorre, if he'll do it. Maybe a female singer, kind of an unknown on a track. But it's going to be. This solo album is going to be definitely the heaviest Michael Sweet solo album ever.
Really? Suppose you're still coming down from Fallen. That's why it probably will be a bit heavier, I reckon.
Exactly, absolutely, and it'll be comparable. If you remember the album Truth and songs like Save Me and The Ever After and stuff like that, it'll be more in that vein.
Yes, they did have that more heavier sense.
Right, exactly.
Rather than the classic 80s.
Yes.
Well, fantastic topics we've talked about today, and it really was great to talk to you again, Michael.
Well, likewise, my friend. Always great to talk to you. Thank you for supporting us and being there, and I appreciate the time, man.
And of course, I do have to ask, is there a UK and Ireland tour coming up soon?
Oh, yeah. Next year we'll get our way across the pond, and we just don't have it on the books yet, but we certainly will. Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you once again, Michael.
Okay, my friend. Thank you so much.
Take care now.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.